Hey guys, I wanted to record a different type of video. I've been doing a lot of duels, a lot of blitz duels, and I thought I'd come back to my roots and record this round of the Transcontinental ladder. I left the ladder and then came back in down in like group 9, if that rings a bell. So basically, there's 22 groups, and I was able to be reinserted in group 9 because of my previous standing. So anyway, I've been working my way up to here, which is where I'm in group 5. And in group 5 we have raist and galmberch, and we just started playing this round. Raist has taken engineering genius, very good first pick. Galmberch took library, which is what I would do in this position for sure. And so I'm left with a few choices. I could go Ashoka, urban growth, cultural heritage, but I hate Ashoka. So another interesting choice would be Moses and Hanging Gardens, which I think is a pretty cool combo, but I'm just not that big of a fan of it. I would just rather go Boudica and urban growth. Moses Hanging Gardens would just be a lot of civic actions to get pop increases and get the gardens finished, and wouldn't really, definitely get a fourth mine, but I'd rather just get Boudica, urban growth, and leave my options open for other wonders. We do have some other good wonders coming in: Roman roads, Stonehenge, Colossus. I like all of those. I would gladly pick up any of those. And for age 2 or age 1, I should say, we have Jan, Nostradamus, Columbus, if I draw territory, St. Peter's, which I do still like, and Himeji. Himeji is going to be something I'm definitely interested in. So raist has gone with Confucius. Going to elect Confucius, build a mine, and increase pop. Pretty good turn, pretty straightforward. He did not want Hanging Gardens, and he could have gone for Stonehenge there, but he could also wait and hope that it doesn't fall off, or Roman roads. So he has those two wonders. He has to hope that Galmberch won't make Stonehenge fall off, but it's pretty unlikely. I mean, if Galmberch took one more card there, then it would have, and then I could have taken Roman roads. But as it is, Race and I will have to share both of these wonders. My turn is Boudica, increase pop, urban growth, and I could either take Stonehenge or Roman roads here. And I'm going to go with Roman roads for two reasons. One, I can get science through Boudica, and I'm already starting with in the lab, so I'm starting with +1 science already. And also Race has tons of science, and so he would much rather go Roman roads himself. So he's going to be pretty heavy on science. Now, in his favor though, monarchy. Monarchy's right there. Now I could go for that combo myself, but monarchy for 2 this early is pretty good, and I don't think I would get monarchy if I went for Stonehenge. So yeah, Raised has a pretty cool combo there with Stonehenge monarchy. We'll see if he takes it, but I still think that this is a better choice for me. Plus, I'm not going to probably get monarchy. I can use Boudica's flexibility to maybe get me that 5th rock to finish the wonder, or go for science if I'm trying to avoid corruption. So I like the setup. Legion's great. Love getting that early tactic. And border conflict, possibly. And then we have frugality, rich land, and theology. So Race displayed an event, and he's triggered development of warfare. He's going to take that free warrior, increase pop, begin Stonehenge, and work on Stonehenge. Yeah, he took the warrior instead of building the lab, which makes sense when you have Stonehenge. Didn't take monarchy. Galmberch also takes the warrior, does build a lab, and because of Homer, and then he does take monarchy for 2. Okay, so my turn. I got this choice of Boudica, first of all. So if I were to play an event and trigger 2 rocks, then I could use Boudica for the 5th rock and just finish this. The row in front of me is not too enticing, so I kind of want to do that. So we're going to play this event and see what happens. All right, so that's not exactly what I wanted, but that's all right. It does allow me to do something else. I definitely want to build the warriors for free. Otherwise, I don't get to use Boudica's multi-choice option here. And so I'm going to go for rocks, because that's what I'm kind of low on. I have enough science thanks to that event to do this. And then that last action is a toss-up between increasing pop and grabbing masonry. Masonry, it would take 2 actions to take it and play it, but it would also save 2 actions on Roman roads. So I am favoring that, because and this is kind of like just a tiebreaker, because they're almost tied to me in terms of how good they are, but suppose one of these players played a fighting band, that would give their strength +1, and then my next turn, I wouldn't have enough food to use the 2 free resources. So it's a minor thing, but it's probably not going to happen. But it just kind of helped me make that decision, because I'm also not getting a ton of extra blues from my mine, because I only have 2 on a bronze mine. So I don't mind getting a little extra food and tempting corruption a little bit there. Raiders and Plunder. So another strength-based event. I just played Border Conflict, so I could definitely push the strength thing. I have Boudica to help me out with that. And Swordsman is coming up. So Raist has played Development of Markets, which is going to be great for our turn. Get some more rocks for the Wonder. He finishes Stonehenge, takes Frugality, and Rich Land. And then Gamblerch plays an event, Development of Politics, okay, and finishes this Wonder. Christopher Columbus, which is a great combo with when you just drew 3 cards. Makes sense. Leaves us with Nostradamus, Swordsman, and Barbarossa. So I am really interested in playing or grabbing Nostradamus here. And so for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and play Raiders. That's unfortunate, but I got Raiders in there and Nostradamus looks really good. So I'm not going to get the Temple, but as for rocks versus food, I currently only have 2 miners, so I'm going to go for the rocks here and not going to get the Temple. Now as for Boudica's decision, if I were to go for rocks here, then it'd be kind of hard to get out of corruption and take these 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the science, and that'll let me avoid corruption a little easier. Now there's a couple ways I can get out of corruption. I could, for one, I could finish this thing. Of course, I would do that with masonry. Then I just wouldn't have enough actions to get Nostradamus and Swordsman. I want both of those. So I'm going to go with the science, and I could do increased pop and then that, but I have masonry in hand, and so this is basically trading a rock in for a science, which I don't really need more science, I don't think. So I'm just going to increase pop twice, and then take Nostradamus higher, and take Swordsman. And that gets me out of corruption, and sets me up pretty well. I think Nostradamus was the best leader for me and for Raist. Gamblerch already has Columbus. So I'm taking Nostradamus from Raist, and I'm also, well, okay, there's Janziska. I don't think he was so good for me in my position. I didn't have any tactic for him that was good with him. So I think it's going to be Saladin for Raist, unless he has a pretty good Jan setup. And yeah, I like Nostradamus. And once again, here's the events: Border Conflict, Raiders. So 2 events that Nostradamus can easily dodge. I might even get the better of that if I can get this Legion down. So let's go ahead and end the turn. I'm going to oh wait, no, I'm playing Legion. Just get out of my hand and have some room. That way I can keep a boat in case there's any territories. Cool, another great Nostradamus card. So Race has initiated a open borders agreement with Galmberch. Galmberch accepted. And we have Frugality, the lab, cartography, interesting, and actually gets into it. So that gives us a clue as to what's in the deck there. Probably some yellows. Gamblerch goes to the pop increase, Forbidden City, which, I don't know, with Homer, he had to get something. He had to have, well, I don't know. It's interesting. Monarchy, and then Columbus, and a warrior. Okay, so we are still the not weakest. They are weaker, but they are also stronger. Well, this was a tough turn to think about. I actually took a break, did some dishes, ate some breakfast. Raiders, Border Conflict coming up. So I do want to be stronger for Border Conflict. I'm not strongest. Raist is. Raist is already in a really great position. He's about to get, he might take Himeji, especially if I take Richland. He would get it for 2. And he's about to get a bunch of territories. So I'm not really super eager to play an event right now. Yeah, it'd be nice if they caught Raiders right now. They're both weaker. But that's pretty unlikely. So I'm going to skip politics. And there's so many different paths I could take. So I could go Masonry, complete this, and then grab Richland. And then maybe get that and get stronger. That's one way. Also, I could just do complete this and then upgrade here and not take Richland. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go ahead and research Swordsman and get stronger. So now I am stronger than Raised, and I'll catch the Border Conflict if that's next. And then I'll go ahead and just finish the Wonder. And then I don't take Richland. I don't give Raised to Himeji for 2, which is way too cheap. And I feel pretty good about this. I don't really need the science upgrader yet. I feel like I need more rocks. It would be nice to take Richland, but I think this is in the end going to be better, especially if I catch the Border Conflict and get 3 rocks that way. I'm going to throw away the Wealthy Territory. I don't see playing that. Even though Raced is not in a great position for it, he's still in the better position for it than anybody here, so I'm going to throw that away. Okay, good. I didn't want to see St. Peter's come out too soon because I might want to get into that, but didn't want to have to grab it yet. Iron I'm definitely interested in. So Raced has predictably played a territory, and that's just triggering Raiders. Okay, so I didn't really need to get stronger for that, but I didn't know, of course, that was coming. Raiders was on top there. And he does spend 3 for Himeji, just showing how important that is to get that wonder, not leave somebody else to have it for 2. Plays Legion as predicted. I thought he might wait for Knights and do some kind of Knight tactic, but he apparently sensed that strength was important here. And as predicted, galmberch does adopt Legion. Engineering Genius. Okay, just grabbing yellows, and then he's going to build the Stage of the Wonder. So he did not pop Columbus yet. Perhaps he has Vast, and it wasn't going to work out for him. So my turn, I am still not able to catch the border conflict, so I lost the strongest position. And it's the same thing, if I played it and that triggered, Race would get the 3, and then he would get to finish his Himeji. And Race is in just such a great position, I just don't want to give that to him. So I'm gonna once again skip politics and get strongest. Not something I would normally do as Nostradamus, but in this case, I think it's worth trying to catch that 3 myself, especially because I'm pretty low on rocks. I'm going to grab Iron. A close toss-up would be Code of Laws. Not close, really, because I'm going to go for an H2 government, and I just don't want to spend the science on that, and then I'd be really behind on rocks. So this is what I'm going to do with my turn. And so Iron, I'm going to get into Iron next turn, and maybe even build an Iron if I do get those 3 rocks. And of course, Urban Growth is great for upgrading the Alchemist. So that's my turn. Let's see what happens here. No, I'm not really using Nostradamus. Ooh, so fast. Interesting. And here we see the other major, the yellow territory, which I was puzzled by here, but I guess he is just not playing it. Raised his, and that's triggering the cultural influence, which gets us all the more closer to border conflict. So he's gone with Gutenberg, grabbing Alchemy for free action, and then he's going to get into Code of Laws. Going to hang on to Alchemy for now to get those free actions from Gutenberg. And grabs Knights. And we have, now he could have gone Jan, interestingly enough. So he's interested in Knights, but not Jan. galmberch takes, finishes the Forbidden City, takes Knights, reserves. Still doesn't get a territory going, so I don't know if he was waiting for Inhabited or Vast, but I have Vast in my hand, and Inhabited was just played. So I guess he's going to wait for something in H2, probably. Crusades, here we go. Okay. Well, that's a little disappointing. But there it is. Well, I for once don't have to do anything to be the strongest, so don't have to do anything with strength. I'm just going to get into some upgrades here. Upgrade Iron, upgrade Alchemy, and then the last action, attempting to take maybe Code of Laws. But no, I'm going to just skip that, because if I do that, I'm pretty well lined up for Constitutional Monarchy or Republic, I suppose. If I had to, I'd go Republic. But with that coming in with the 6 and then 6 the turn after that, am I doing that right, the math right? Let's see. Yeah, 4 plus 4 plus, you're right. So I'm at 12 in 2 turns. So pretty well lined up. Also, if I take Code of Laws, then Race gets irrigation for 2. So I want Race to really reach for irrigation, or else he's not going to get it. He's going to wait for selective breeding, which he might do. But if you want to colonize, here's what the event deck looks like. We got border conflict coming up and a couple colonies. Possibly another colony right there. And the turn, I just don't have the actions to take a card. I'd rather just bank the action. So plus I don't know where Rats is. Yeah, not a great draw. I'm not gonna play. Well, I could play Historic just for the points. Yeah, I'll probably play that. Race plays yet another event. Developed territory coming in. Scientific breakthrough is triggered, so I get a pretty nice windfall from that. Going for Iron, Monarchy, and gets into Monarchy. Okay, so that's a little bit less pressure. Wow, going for a lot of Age 1 techs here. Warfare. That's a little less pressure for Constitutional Monarchy, since he's into that now. Actually, they both are. Irrigation for 2, getting right into it, and breakthrough. Okay. So there's border conflict, finally. So I definitely want to take advantage of this border conflict. I am stronger right now, and one way I could do that is this turn build a swordsman, but I'm not so sure I really want to do that. I would do that if I'm thinking I could probably fight him on some of these territories, but the only one I want to fight him on is Inhabited. I don't think I really have a good chance on the others. Just they're not worth 2, and trying to fight him with just 1 is not going to work. So I'm going to play Historic. Yes, it is a territory, but he's already going to be pretty low in pop. If you look at his food here, he's going to be struggling for population, and he's not going to get Historic. He's not going to even bid for it, probably. And it gets us 4 points. So a few things I want to do here. A lot of things. I mean, Kanmon is right there. That's awesome. But that's just too expensive right now, and I don't think with them both on Monarchy, I don't think they're going to hate pick it, or even, well, it would be a hate pick if they did it. So instead, well, the other two things is cannon would be nice. Doing that would be nice. Getting a third minor. St. Pete's, great. Yeah, all these things I want to do, but only 4 actions. And so out of everything, if I were to go to St. Pete's, I just feel like it'd be too much pressure on my rocks right now, and I might get historic myself, and I have an extra yellow. I just don't think it's all that important to get a couple happy faces right now. So I'm gonna go irrigation just to take the wind out of race sail a little bit, because that is something he's really weak on is the food. And that'll help me get into some of the maybe one of these colonies better than he would be able to. And I'm gonna take cannon as well as building this mine. And I think cannon is the position of the cannons is really unfortunate here, but I hate missing out on cannon. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to draw, but if I don't draw, if I don't have cannon, there's only 3 tactics that will work with what I have. So I definitely want to get cannon and also take that away from them. And the other reason to get cannon is it's going to be easier to get into cannon if I'm going to be sending swordsmen at the territories. And the last thing I want to do is switch tactics to that, and that'll give me one more strength towards inhabited if I want to send 2 at inhabited. So there it is. It's a really tough turn, actually. It took a while to figure out what I wanted to do here. End the turn. Oh, sweet. That's excellent. So Raced has played Vest 2, and that's going to trigger one of these events, Historic Territory. That's the one I played. So looking at, let's look at the events again. So I could bid for this and basically pay 3 rocks for I'll get an extra pop out of it in 3 turns. So 3 rocks for an extra pop in a few turns. I think that is worth it. I'm not going to probably get some of these more highly contested territories. It's worth it to me. I don't think Race is bidding for this at all. Looking at his situation, he would just be down a pop. Well, I guess he'd get it back next turn. I don't know, maybe he'll go for it, but he can't replace that this turn. Gambler could definitely bid for 1. He might throw 1 at it, maybe 2. So anyway, I'm gonna bid 2 and see how that goes. Race does bid for it. Interesting. So Race wins that with a warrior. He's gonna use Johannes Gutenberg for the free upgrade, and she also gets into iron here. And he's just gonna grab a bunch of yellows, and he's down at 5 strength. Middle of age 2. Gamblerch did lose a minor there due to border conflict. He's gonna make up for it here with coal. And going for the Bach Opera combo that I had my eye on. Alright, so there's definitely good reasons to play Vast here. For one, Crusades is one reason. And it also kind of overwhelms the yellows. I mean, if Race got it, and he got all these other yellow territories, then, I mean, he'd just be flooded with yellows, which would be pretty overwhelming. And so not much net benefit for him, but quite a bit for me. But that being said, I don't know that I can support the rate of territories right now with the rocks coming in, especially because there's Ocean Liner here, which I'm very interested in. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Ocean Liner here and upgrade because I want to get more rocks coming in for sure. And do that and just play Cultural Heritage. So that basically, if I don't get a territory, I can still build the Ocean Liner. And if I do, okay, I can put that off a little bit. But I think this sets me up for either Shakespeare or Darwin. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not copying that. So end the turn. Let's see what I draw. Hopefully cannon tactic. Nope. So Race has placed new deposits, which is going to trigger develop territory. Out of the 3 in this batch, this is my least favorite territory. I'd like strategic for getting a tactic, or inhabited would be also nice. Yeah, so this Raced is going to put a minimum of 3, and all I really want to do is bid this up to 4, just to get rid of one of his boats, and that would look like that for me. Yeah, so Raced won that with 4, and that got a boat out of his hand. Not a very big boat, but at least a boat. He's going for Napoleon. And elects them over Johannes Gutenberg. Yeah, Gutenberg was done there. I'm surprised he played reserves for resources. I think it's interesting, because he has a couple yellows for that, and I thought he would use that for food. Gamblich gets into Bach, and gets his mine upgrade, and also gets into phalanx for Gaudi for 2, huh? Alright, So here's what the event deck looks like: Crusades, Strategic, or Inhabited. I'm not going to win Crusades. I'd be raced. But anyway, it's still worth it, I think. It's 5 points, and I don't see myself getting stronger this turn than raced. So let's play Independence Declaration and score 5 points. Cool. Now this one I am interested in, and I'm gonna throw it all at it because I risk not winning any really important territory. If I don't get inhabited, I don't know, I suppose Vast is coming, but by then boats will be replenished. And anyway, strategic, I really need a tactic, and strategic will get me more boats. So I'm going to go up to 7 here. Well, I actually won that colony with a 6. I didn't need all 7. So here we go. Let's see what we get. So for this turn, let's look first at the events. We have Crusades and Inhabited Territory coming up. Crusades, it looks like I'm not going to get the +4. I don't really have. I could build a cannon, but I'd still be tied with race. As for getting the -4, I really want to get into Maria. I could just maybe not elect her and avoid the -4. The thing is, though, I do want her rocks next turn, and I don't think it's worth avoiding that just for, yeah, because I'd rather have the rocks. Now, I could also add some strength here, like build a cannon and, get out of it that way. But then that delays the ocean liner, and I don't know if I'm going to get a cannon tactic. Nobody else is going cannons here. They just each built a knight last turn. So that doesn't seem so good. I also don't want to build another swordsman. So I'm being pretty picky about this because I don't really want to just invest in stuff just for the 8-point swing right now. It's just a little too early in the game for that. So I'm going to just take Maria. I'm going to finish the wonder here and start getting that free science and free culture from Maria. And 2 actions left here after that. And it's tempting. Okay, so I have 3 things I want: selective breeding, organized religion, and cavalry. There's another cavalry coming, and they each have knights. So I'm going to just skip the first cavalry. Also, it's just yet another, action that I want investing blindly, not knowing if I'm going to draw it. I would do that if it were the last cavalry for sure, just to be, same reason I took cannons. But I think I'm going to get the next cavalry without too much issue. Selective breeding is, a little bit better for me just because I can delay that upgrade, but it's also going to take it away from race. He's going to have to get the second selective breeding, which is going to delay his conquest, his Napoleon plans. And yeah, that's about it. So end the turn, and I've already pre-selected this. Vast is useless to me. I've got plenty of pop. I'm also going to get rid of Crime Wave, and Strategic Territory might be a play if I can get Navigation. Oh, sweet. Okay. Finally a tactic. Definitely can get the science for that. I have the science for that. So yeah, hopefully they don't hate pig cavalry. So race does, in fact, trigger Crusades. I don't know what event he played, though, because I'm not Nostradamus anymore. He gets into Rifleman. 3 for Engineering Genius. Guess that's for not Kremlin, maybe Louvre. Alright, so Galmberch has offered me a pact. Certainly don't need any more food. I'm going to reject this pact. So Galmberch is going to get into his operas here. At least one opera. Take strategy for 2, and last action he could have taken cavalry, but he wanted those 2 rocks, so he played his reserves. So that leaves it to me. The next event is Inhabited. After that is New Deposits. I'm gonna go ahead and skip my politics. Yeah, just not really all that set up for Inhabited, and I don't want to play another territory until I have Navigation. And I don't know if I'm even going to get Navigation. My science is... There's a lot of demand on my science right now with cannons, cavalry, selective breeding, organized religion. I'm glad to have this here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab Patriotism. I'll get the free pop increase. I'm going to build a cannon with the extra resources. Excuse me. And then the last couple actions. So I could have gone Justice System. Again, science, that would be quite an investment there. And so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to increase pop and develop cavalrymen. And that might catch an arms industry event, but either way, it's something that I would definitely want to do very soon, next turn actually, and so I might as well do it now. All right, and I'm also going to play this because that'll give me a little more hand space for keeping all the cards I want. Let's double check everything and end the turn. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of these 2 territories, and I'm going to be getting pretty aggressive here. So one of those, either Inhabited or Vast, I'm going to hopefully be able to annex with a pretty powerful military coming up. And I'm probably not going to go with Navigation myself. emigration, that I could do. So race has triggered that inhabited territory. Now for me, I was going to throw the two swordsmen at it earlier with the fighting band tactic, but now that I have ocean liner, this is really only worth like a happy face to me. And given that rocks are, I think, currently my bottleneck, well, sciences as well, but yeah, I'm just not willing to put much more than that into it. So I'm gonna see how that does. Okay, yeah. So he ends up losing a rifleman to that. So he was willing to pay more than I was. It does activate his wave of nationalism, though. Develops warfare. That's interesting. 4 science a turn and he gets into warfare. I would have probably gotten selective breeding. I think that's what he's weaker on right now is food, not military actions. And here I'm offered the same pact from galmberch with the same side. And I'm going to say the same thing. No. Galmberch takes rifleman as predicted, scientific method, and he's going to get into rifleman right now. Going for conquistadors, and now he's strongest. And we're into age 3. Open borders expires. Alright, so looking at new deposits, definitely want to trigger that right now. And I'm going to do that with immigration, which, I really don't want to deal with later, but it won't be too hard to deal with. And that'll allow me to get into, I'll have 2 Napoleon armies right here. So I'm going to go organize religion. And 1, 2, 3. Oops, patriotism 3. And that puts me at a pretty good strength lead there. Now, there's a couple things I guess I could do. I could go breakthrough and 2 efficient upgrades. I need efficient upgrade for selective breeding. Breakthrough urban growth would get me into multimedia next turn if I wanted to do that. But then I'd have to, I just wouldn't have enough for selective breeding though, so I actually couldn't do that without losing some points. I could just go multimedia and make sure to get that, but that's a lot of yellows that I'm leaving behind that I think are going to be more valuable really in the long run. And opera or multimedia, I'd be pretty happy with either one of those right now to start getting some points. So I'm going to go with the yellows and end the turn, see what I draw here. Impact of strength, good, and wonders, not so good. Cool. Race triggered politics of strength. I didn't play this event. That's a nice perk. See what we drew in a second. Frugality, pop, builds a rifle and a knights, and classical army. Okay, so he's safe. He's not going to get his territory stolen. Goes for Air Force for 3. So that's the first out of 2. Yeah, he's looking pretty safe. Galmberch is going to go for some military here as well. Looks like he's preparing for 2 classical armies. Wow. 3 yellows. That's a pretty good turn. So looking at what we drew here, looks like I think I had that already. Yeah, I did. So we got modern army, a couple wars, and an aggression, the raid. So I have a few aggressions here that I could play. Let's look at this one. I could either go after raist and either get what would that be? 1 boat for raist. Gamblers, however, it'd be 2 boats. There are only 3 boats outstanding right now. So I don't believe that raist has 1 and Gamblers has 2. But anyway, it'd be really nice if this would land. And even if it doesn't, it does put a lot of pressure on Gamblers. So I'm going to go ahead and plunder him. Well, unfortunately, that failed. He did have 2 boats. So I was going to probably get into multimedia had that succeeded, but since it didn't, well, here's what I do know. I have 2 wars and a great tactic as long as I get modern infantry, which there are 2 of. So I think it's time to just commit to war at this point. And to do that, I'm going to grab Gandhi and military buildup. I'm not going to let Gandhi, probably maybe the last turn, but yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get into war. And the last action, I might have grabbed multimedia if I had hand size, but I don't. So I'm just going to get this started and definitely going to want to increase pop. Last action could have been building a religion, but and I'll do that eventually. But I figured that this way I freed up some hand space, and if I don't have the actions next turn for everything I want to do, then this is the more important action: is to free up some hand space and get into selective breeding before I start getting into famine. So let's end the turn. Really tough discard here. I'm going to get rid of these Impact of Wonders. I'm even going to get rid of this, the Raid, which is really sad, but I think these are the four most important: is the Two Wars, the Tactic, and Impact of Strength. That's what I'm keeping. I'm going to probably play Impact of Strength next turn, just because of the limited hand size. Cool, so I got an aggression to replace the Raid. That's cool. So Race has played an event and triggered Vast Territory. I'm not going to win this, but I can bid 3. I mean, they're not going to pass, but yeah, I did throw away my boats because I wanted to commit to the wars. Anyway, I'll bid 3 and lose, and that'll be that. So Raced wins it with a knight. He finally gets into his farms. Is he going to do another upgrade? Of course, he's got to rebuild. Yeah, so there's 2 upgrades. All right, so he's getting into his food and into these yellows, and that's going to definitely be a challenge to keep up with. Not to keep up with, but to try to have a successful war. Really love to see that modern infantry just show up. That's going to be great for modern army. Predictably, galmberch gets into. Let's see if he does it. Yeah, here it comes. Oh, weird. Okay, I thought he would go for the classical army, but no, he's going to go for, I guess, a third army of conquistadors. Interesting. So I'm definitely committing to this strength build. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this. I wouldn't play this early normally, but my hand size is pretty limited right now. So Raced will lose a yellow or a happy face. Probably gonna lose a happy face. I don't know, actually. We'll see. Maybe developed. And yeah, well, I'm definitely grabbing modern infantry. I do not want to wait until the second one, because who knows when that's gonna come. And yeah, I think my move here is to just get into it. Change that, which gets me to weakest, and then military buildup is worth 10. And then I can do this, this, and this. And now I have a pretty interesting choice here. I could grab reserves and lose 4 points to the food. And that's tough, but I'm going to go ahead and not do that just because, I have about a 1 in 3 chance of getting Air Force. Race already has it. Gamblers will definitely take it for 3. And so it would have to come out at the beginning of my turn. Yeah, so that's why I'm going to just try to preserve my actions again here. Just trying to, really make sure I have enough actions for doing the best thing. Now, military theory is another option here today in this turn, but I'll wait for the second one. It's not as critical as modern infantry or Air Force. So end the turn and just get rid of this, because that's definitely not where I'm going to go. So Race triggered yet another yellow territory. He played an H3 event. And I really can't afford this. The reason being that I could, if I were to get Air Force, I'd be okay. But my backup plan is to build a third modern army. And as it is, I still need to get 2 more yellows in order to do that. So if I were to send anything at this, then I would need 3 yellows, and it would be just too much of a dependency for my comfort level. So I'm gonna pass on this. It would be nice to get +1 pop, throw this in, and that's +1 pop, but it's just not worth it. Not worth the risk. So pass. So Race wins it with a single knight. Rebuilding the knight, and he's going to start his second classical army. All right, yep, he's getting ready. Pretty much every one of those moves was, I don't know why he built the organized religion, but other than that, maybe there's a prosperity in there. So he's going with mechanized egg, and he's fixing his pop. Yeah, that's one thing he's weak on as well. Both of them were weak on pop, but he's galmberch is taking that step to get into mechanized agriculture. Very pro-military move there. All right, so I see a couple good lines of play. Let's look at the events. Immigration's coming up, so I definitely don't want to play an event. It's like a 50-50 chance of losing a pop here. I'd like to get that cleared out, ideally, before that's played. Or at least it's something to consider. I have to like take that into account. So I want to play a war here. I'm about to finish my second modern army, and it's going to be on Gamblers. Race can get up to 60 with his castle. Gamblers can't quite get there. He can get to like 51 roughly. And so definitely declaring war. Definitely building the second modern army. Definitely grabbing patriotism. And so now it kind of is the decision point, like how do I get out of the uprising? I could do this and upgrade, and that seems pretty good, and then grab an urban growth for a third temple later. But the problem with that is now I'm 2 rocks short of building a third modern army on the penultimate turn, where I want to declare the last war. And so that would mean I have to next turn get a yellow or get some like really cool event like freedom of movement or arms industry. I don't know what that green event is, and that's just too many dependencies. I just want to have a more secured way of to getting to that third modern army. Now, obviously, if I draw Air Force, then that's going to be the play, not the third modern army. But if I don't get Air Force, I want to have a pretty good a plan, basically a plan that still works. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do to get out of Uprising is disband this, grab Urban Growth still, and that's something I can use next turn to build the with efficient upgrade to build the temple. And then the last action is a choice between taking tanks, which Race could use, but he's actually better off just getting into Air Force and building 2 full armies with Air Force. He still needs he's actually short a rock just to do that. So tanks isn't really going to help him all that much. He could also get into modern army himself, the same tactic I have, but that's still worse than just going with the classical armies, 2 classics and 2 Air Force. So tanks isn't really that useful to him. I'm just going to let him have it, unless, of course, there's a possibility he has, what is that, shock troops? So, but pretty low chances of that. The last action then is just going to be to disband the other WAB. I already have enough science. I have enough science to do Air Force or military theory, and I really don't need anything else for this war, for this military victory. So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to save me an action later. So yeah, let's end the turn. Checking everything, 60 strength to galmberch 39. So yeah, everything looks good. I'm going to just end the turn, and hopefully Air Force doesn't come out. We'll see if it does though. Board card. Nope. Good. So Grace has triggered the Cold War, which means galmberch now has enough science to research Air Force. Looks like he's going for a second classical army. Yep. So he's 16 away, which is, what is that? 3 boats from an aggression. Probably doesn't have 3 boats. Unfortunately, galmberch did find his Air Forces. Shoot. So he's going to be able to get into that right now. Actually goes with Chaplain, which he didn't need to do. But yeah, I guess it's 1 more culture per turn. So I'm going to steal 16 culture from galmberch. And unfortunately, no military theory is on the board. I am glad I didn't hope that there would be another yellow for me, because there isn't one. Patriotism, no reserves. Glad I went the way I went, and I'm also glad that immigration has not been triggered yet. Definitely not going to play an event. I could try to occupy raist, but then I'd be relying on military theory coming next turn to have enough MA for the war. But so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to skip politics. I'm going to, of course, increase pop, and then use that urban growth to build a religion, use the upgrade to get a free upgrade, and go ahead and get some of that next army. I can build everything except for that last cannon, and that'll be next turn. So next turn I'll have 4 MA. It's going to be 3 for the war, 1 for the cannon. And that'll probably, I'm not sure who I'm going to do that against. I'm thinking raist. Here's what the scores look like. Just because he's more ahead. He has more points. So I might be able to get more against galmberch, maybe a little bit more. We'll see. As for the rest of my turn, this is a solid 6 points. Again, looking at the scores, I'm going to have less than both of them next turn. So I definitely want that. And then from there, I could just grab this as just to make sure no one else gets it. But looking at the science, let's see. Yeah, I guess race could take that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he'd rather do military theory. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. So one thing I have here, though, is I could go democracy. And this is 9 points. Whereas military theory, I would be able to steal 5 more points from somebody. So I think this is better, just overall. It's kind of better against both, whereas military theory would be 1 point better against 1 person. And yeah, so I think this is just better overall. And then the last action, there's really nothing to do with the last action, so there's really nothing good to do. So I might as well take movies and call it a day. It's end the turn, and I hope that I draw. I'm just going to check everything over really quick. I have 6 modern armies, 3 cavalry, and 2, yeah. So I'm all set for another war next turn. So end the turn, see what we draw. A hybrid war. Oh, that's exciting. That's really exciting. So there's 12 in the deck. It's possible that I could trigger both of these wars. Okay, so I just realized something. I'm sure you guys saw this too. I just lost my 4th MA. And it's really fortunate that I drew Hybrid War, because I can do that next turn. And if that's not the penultimate turn, then I can do the War of a Culture the next turn. It might still work out, but I'm so lucky to have drawn Hybrid War, because otherwise I don't know if this would work. So race unfortunately triggered immigration before I could start my war, but oh well, could have been worse. Could have been after. Race develops air forces. I guess I would have rather had it been after though. Anyway, air forces, he gets into that. Marie gets a little more strength from Marie. It makes sense. A little bit more. I wonder if he's going to get any more than that. I don't know. That's only one strength right now. And then galmberch. Impactive colonies. Oh no. Oh wow, he drew that super early. That's unfortunate. Oh wow, just picked up 8 resources. Yeah, he's definitely gonna get a 3rd Air Force, and then some if he wants more. Shoot. Alright, let's look at the events again. Impact of Strength is coming up next, and that's gonna favor galmberch a little bit, which is good because, well, it depends on when it's triggered, of course, but yeah, raist is currently my rival, and it looks like raist next turn could get to about 71 strength, whereas, and we'll look at his military situation. He builds a couple Air Forces. No, he builds 1 Air Force, and then maybe a rifleman. Galmberch can build a couple Air Forces. He has 20 rocks. He can get to about 77 strength, so he can get more strength than raist. And raist is more ahead, so I'm definitely going to go for raist with the hybrid war. Okay, so raist is the victim. Oh, before I increase pop, I want to play this because I'm actually just 1 point down from galmberch. So then I'll increase pop. Then I'm going to disband a couple things to free up a pop for the cannons. And there's 4 cards left in the deck, so if I want to play the war next turn, I can only take 1 card that's not going to be auto trashed, and that 1 card is going to be Urban Growth. Urban Growth will actually allow me to get, I believe it's 16 points. Yeah, I'm gonna get 16 points out of Impact of Harmony with Urban Growth. And the only other thing I could do is I could take oil. It's possible that I get the last revolutionary idea, and then I can research that. We'll see. So race played an event and triggered that Impact of Strength. Let's see what he does about this war. Builds an Air Force. Builds a Knight. Okay. Develops military theory and takes satellites. The Knight, I imagine, is for Himeji, which I, by the way, did not account for when rattling off those numbers. Yep, so nothing surprising there. Impact of culture. Oh, well, I got some on race, at least. I got 7 points on race. That's good. But galmberch is now starting to look a little more threatening. And he grabs fast food. Oh boy. Completes his 3rd army there. And then raist, sure enough, loses the Knight. So now it's just the choice of who to declare war against. Raist, looks like if I declare war against him, I'm going to end up with being about 30 points ahead of him, but then galmberch gets to finish this, and I probably only get about 9 points ahead of galmberch before impacts, maybe even less after impacts. So if I were to declare war on galmberch, then I'd end up about 45 points ahead of galmberch at the end. And then raist, of course, would have more points, but only about 14 more points. So that'd be about 17 points ahead of raist after impacts. I just kind of give him 15 points on impacts just because he's probably played about 4 of these. He probably didn't play culture. So 4 of the remaining ones are all raist. So I'm going to go against galmberch because that's a bigger margin at the end. Okay, and then I'm going to grab these 2 to try to get some impact of progress. I'm going to build one of these to get Impact of Science. If you look against galmberch, that would give me 7 points more against raist, 14 against galmberch. I will go ahead and elect Gandhi because I don't see Occupy. I'm going to go for the Harmony. I'm going to have 4 on each type of thing. So I'll have 16 there. Efficient Upgrade will be good for agriculture, and this will be good for Impact of Happiness. So, and of course the culture that it brings by itself. Yeah, so that's about it. And then next turn, I'll just try to maximize impacts. I'll probably have seen a few impacts by then, and then we'll see what impacts may be left that I can maximize on. Okay, so raist has no pressure at all for military. Let's see what he does with his turn. He builds 2 temples, and then grabs a bunch of cards. So that's unfortunate because that puts him at 20 points in Impact of Harmony, which makes that basically unplayable at this point. It's unfortunate. So galmberch has triggered Impact of Balance, and I'm really glad I built that Alchemist, or else I get 0 out of this. Does he go for... Yep. Oh, adopts classical. Interesting. Oh boy. Didn't really account for that. Ooh. Whoa. Oh, geez. Oh, no. Wow, I did not account for that at all. Oh, no. That's not good. That's not good, folks. So I lost 12 to galmberch. Okay. So I can't play Impactive Harmony because just wouldn't be able to get enough there. So I gotta skip politics. Yeah, I'm a little bit bitter about this whole thing. Jeez, the classical army. Anyways, moving on. I'm gonna go with military theory, and that's for government. That's for variety. That's for progress. And then I'm gonna try to get some impact of agriculture, going from -1 to +2. And then for the last, now I could get the free pop, but then that would ruin agriculture. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna disband a cavalry. I don't think competition is likely, and strength is already gone. And just do that. Get another happiness, another culture that way. And that's it. Those are the impacts that I feel like I can do the most on right now. And yeah, let's end the turn and see how these impacts play out. Correct. Okay. Here we go. Industry. Okay, not bad. I think Raist is going to win this. He's played the most impacts. Glad I got the agriculture going. It's only 2 points ahead. Now I'm 3 points ahead. Architecture. Progress. Yep. Good, good. As predicted. Now I'm 5 points ahead. And the last one. Government. Yes. Oh boy. Wow. Those could have been way worse, those impacts. I'm not sure which would have been worse. Science could have been in there. That would have been better for Grace than government. Jeez, that was so close. I made 2 critical mistakes and probably didn't deserve this win, but I'll take it. Gandhi for the win with 180. So it was somewhat thanks to Maria. Also, was really nice to get that military buildup and be able to trigger it next turn. Maria was worth, of course, a bunch of rocks. Gandhi, I had to take Gandhi in order to actually use my military actions, actually declare those wars. Super lucky to draw the hybrid war. Ocean Liner did quite a bit of work. Curious to hear your guys' thoughts as to what went right here, what went wrong, and how goddamn lucky I was to draw hybrid war. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.